What's up, guys? So today's city update is super special because not only am I really excited about what I've been working on over the last couple weeks, but today actually marks the 1-year anniversary of the channel, and just 2 days ago we surpassed 5,000 subscribers on here. That is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. When I started this channel a year ago, my whole goal for the first 12 months was just to get to 1,000. So to be at 5,000 is honestly incredible. So major thank you to everybody who subscribed over the last year, all the likes, all the comments. If you follow me on the other platforms like Instagram and TikTok or wherever, I really appreciate it. So today's video, we're gonna do a little Q&A in the beginning, and then we're gonna get into the city update. So if you don't care about the Q&A, no worries, just use the chapters down below to skip ahead, but let's get into the questions. So first question is, what's next for the city and what's next for the channel? So what's next for the city, really, I'm gonna keep working on this cliff section. This is a build that I wanna take to BritCon in September, and if I wanna make that date, I gotta keep on my pace because I got a lot of buildings to put in here. So really excited for that. In terms of what's next for the channel, you know, obviously we're gonna continue to focus on the city updates and moving forward with that. I'd like to get back to doing tutorials. That was something I really enjoy and I just haven't had enough time to do lately. I also have a Star Wars project that I'm going to start working on. I just bought the Mos Eisley Cantina and I'm planning on a 3 base plate by 3 base plate sort of diorama for it. So that's something I'll be documenting here on the channel and making some videos on that. Don't worry, channel's not going to become a Star Wars channel or about official sets, things like that. It's still going to be a city update and all, you know, modular and mock channel, but I'm really excited for that one. So next question, I know this is a hotly debated one in the community. Team collect boxes or team throw them in the trash? Throw them in the trash. You got the build. Why do you need the box? So let me know in the comments what you guys think, but I think it's crazy when people keep the boxes. It just makes no sense to me. So next question is, do you have any tips on lighting and can you do a video on lighting? So let me know if you guys would like me to do a video on lighting. It's something I've certainly thought about in the past, but tips, I would say focus on using pieces that have open studs. Whether that's a 1x1 plate, a 1x2 plate, or a headlight brick, or a snot brick, or a Technic plate, anything where you can run your wires through, it's gonna make it a lot easier. It's also a lot easier if you just go ahead and convert to a mill system so you can run all the wires underneath the buildings. That will save your life. It is a little costly, but it is definitely worth it. So next question is, do you have any tips for growing my LEGO social media account? So this is something I'm really passionate about and I like talking about it because I see a lot of great content creators out there that really aren't that good at builders or maybe just need to refine their techniques. And I see a lot of great builders out there that really aren't that good at content creating. So biggest tip I can give you is just be different. You have so many voices out there. You have so many accounts, so many pages, so much content we're consuming. Stand out. What's different? And I mean, really take a hard look at what kind of content you're making and is it truly different? Is it something people haven't seen before? Or if it is, how can you make it your own spin, put your own brand on it? So biggest thing I would say is just really try to be different and stand out. All right, so the last question is, do you have a finish line for the city or is this an ongoing project? I suppose the finish line for me will be when I fill up the table, but by that point, by the time I get to that very far corner, I'll probably be ripping apart the beach and restarting other areas, and that's the beauty of LEGO, is you can always rebuild and, you know, destroy and rebuild again. So really there isn't a set finish line, but yeah, I've got a couple milestones I'd like to achieve. So that's it for the Q&A, guys. If I didn't get to your question today, don't worry, I'll get to it in the next video. If you have other questions you'd like me to answer, put them down below in the comments. But with that being said, let's get into the city update. So first off, we're gonna start with some tiling along the cliff edge. Now, I needed something rounded and organic, but couldn't be too busy and clash with the building, so I settled on a monochromatic light gray pattern using only rounded pieces. And it's so much work to do all this tiling for such a short period of the video, but I think it looks really good. It doesn't clash with the buildings, and it just has a really nice organic cobblestone feel. Now I wanted to start transitioning the walkway into whatever is gonna be here next. So I created this little archway using the ferns to kind of keep it in the same style as the building. And then you can see I put the little archway over top and then started adding the bougainvillea, just crawling upside the building and kind of in this little pot. And it feels like a nice little organic shape adding to the building because it's pretty rigid. And it's just a nice pop of color. So I think it's turned out really nicely, but that's all the work we're doing on the hotel for this video. Got a ton of ideas for the next one. But now for my favorite part, which is the railing. And you guys have seen this before, but again, it's so cool that I just wanted to show off again and show you guys how I kind of installed it on the cliff edge. And using those 1x2 rounded plates, you can see it really helps me match the curvature of the cliff edge. Now, this little section right here does actually prohibit me from opening the little cave door. So eventually I need to go back and fix that and kind of figure that out. But for right now, I think it works. I also wanted to shout out the dark green. I think it looks really good. It contrasts nicely. And I have so much ivy in my city that I felt like I needed something a little bit darker along the rocks. So the next I added these little statuettes, and you can see on the bottom, it's just a 1x2 rounded plate. And so the forks just wedge right into the open stud, and it's a little loose, but honestly, it works pretty good. All right, now finally to some building. So first we're gonna work on 2 facades, and then I'll show you where we're putting them in the city. So first up is my deteriorating archway. Now I used dark tan and light bluish gray, and as usual, I added some ivy growing throughout. I really like how the modified bricks up at the top look, and this tiled archway just looks really nicely. And I don't know why, for some reason, this reminded me of a Star Wars build. It just kind of has that feel, so that was kind of fun. So next up is the tan facade, and I've used dark tan as some of the deterioration just for consistency between the 2 sections. Added the small green shuttered window and then a turquoise and white awning. Now, this is my little Stop and Shop, which is another sticker my wife made for me last Christmas. You can also see the black fence piece above the door to mimic the wrought iron. And this little random gray section with the angled bars just kind of came together as a fun little detail I needed to fill some space. So funny enough, this one actually was inspired by Star Wars. The white and turquoise awning was inspired by the Mos Eisley Cantina and Greedo, the alien in that scene, if you're familiar. And then just the tan and the dark tan kind of fit with the same kind of Tatooine vibe. So that was a fun little Easter egg just for myself. So before we can put these in the city, we are going to add our final section of rockwork, and that thing is dense. It is packed full of filler brick and was a pain. But after that, we are going to clean up our tiling, fill in some of these little black gaps of the plates that are shining through, and then we're going to add the facades, which do match the curvature of the building that we're about to see in just a moment. So it's really nice to see these in the city because they add such a unique element with this archway and all the ivy. I know I already have a lot of ivy in the city, but I think this area just feels really different with that angle in the corner. I also wanted to point out the little gray arch that I had framed the door. I didn't mention that earlier, and I really like how that turned out with the headlight bricks and those modified tiles. So now it's time to work on transitioning the lower level to the second level. So just like the other staircases in my city, I'm building a monochromatic gray staircase, and that way it also fits in with the tiling. So you can see it's pretty basic, just some curved tiles, things like that. So now we're gonna place it in the city, and I'm gonna also show you guys the handrails I've built for it. So I'm not sure I like using the inverted cones here. I might use lightsaber hilts in the future, we'll see. But I did use this little angled bar, or kind of right angle bar, I should say, in order to have the railing jut in. And the reason I made the stairs a little off balance was just so that it fit in with the builds and really didn't create too narrow of an alley. I didn't want it to be like this big overwhelming presence right here in such a focal point of my city. And now for just a little bit more tiling, you can see the vision is now really starting to come together. I am really happy with how this little view corridor is starting to look. And now for the best part, the building. So unfortunately, I did not build this one on camera, but let's go ahead and take a closer look at the build. So looking at the front, I am really happy with how everything has turned out. The light gray detailing up top looks really nice and ornate with this kind of heavy dark orange. And they have a little pop of color with the sand green, which also ties it in with the awnings. Another highlight for me was using these 6-wide medium nougat door frame, as well as those 3-wide windows. It's just nice to get away from that typical 1x4 door frame structure. So moving to the next side, I think I need to go back and add some more texture to this side of the building because it just looks very bland with all the 1x2 tiles. I'd like to go back and add some like 1x1 plates, maybe some ingots, some jumpers, things like that. And then you've got this large dark orange section right here that I need to go back and do something with. It's just too much. It needs a little bit more variety and something different there. But one of the things I was really pleased with was this little balcony right here. You can see I used a lightsaber hilts and then handcuffs, and it just looks really, really clean and simple and low profile. So on this side, you can see I did run out of those 3x3 white curved slopes for the awning, so I need to get one of those to be able to finish this out. But let's go ahead and place this in the city and see how it looks. So unfortunately, I forgot to take a before photo, but here is the after, and I am really, really pleased with how it looks with the section beneath it, but also how it contrasts with the hotel next to it. You can see this view corridor is really starting to fill out, and I'm just really happy with all the little details and the potted plants and the cobblestones. Everything is looking great. So now we're gonna add these angled stairs, which I think are really nice. Again, I used some handcuffs here for the wrought iron. Adding, of course, another potted plant, and then these 2 potted trees. And I really love the way these trees kind of just frame this little walkway. I wanted them to create sort of like a little archway almost and make it feel like a natural architectural element almost. So really, really happy. I gotta say, I think this is now my favorite view corridor in the city. What I just love is that you can see the other buildings, you can see the pizzeria, you can see my Tuscan Mock, and all of that detail is in the background, and so it's just really, really cool to start to see this this view corridor fill out. So now my question for you guys is, should we add a second level of dark orange to that building, or should we just leave it as is and do a rooftop patio so that we don't block the view of the hotel? Also, let me know down in the comments if you guys want to see a tutorial on how I did this technique for the building. Thank you again, everybody, for all the support over the last 12 months. I can't wait to see what the next 12 months hold and share some of the ideas I have with you guys. So that being said, we will see you next time.